just to be heard, and nose pickers during conversations.
Yeah, damn nose pickers.
Here we are live.
Man, peace, whatever, famo, but you know how we do it. Of course, welcome to another edition of the B&W Show. You can reach out and view us on all platforms, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and in the flesh. Of course, we live. So, any comments, concerns, anything you want to talk about, definitely get back at us because, we love to go ahead and just strike a conversation because that's how we do it. So, Facebook famo, what's happening? This your boy, Belly Vale. Of course, this my man AP always, and you know how I like to do it. I always like to leave them unknown. So, we're going to wait for the unknown to be known. So, right now, I'm going to turn it over to my man, AP.
Cool. What up, my mustard asses? That's right. Welcome to another episode of the greatest show ever.
True indeed. True indeed.
So, what is it that you, our audience, feel that we, the B&W Show, represent? Do we put our best foot forward? I like to think that we do. Sometimes our technology falls shorter than what we'd like, but that's not due to lack of experience. It's more lack of funds and getting us to where we want to be.
Man, sometimes, computers be tripping, man.
Yeah.
You know how everybody say, this damn computer tripping. So I'm going to say that. Sometimes computers be tripping.
Yeah. And plus, we don't like a stable location. We have a stable location, but we like to move around. So it's hard to have a network that supports the technology that we would like to have.
I be moving, man.
So we just keep our things moving. So we keep our technology mobile.
Right, mobile. Our tech crew, man, of two, always on point.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Always on point. We there.
And a quick shout out. Our third wheel, Nitty, is not here. He's got a busy weekend. He's got to move this weekend. So our hearts and blessings go out to
Transitions,
Nitty,
baby.
doing his thing. So he will be back next month.
Always. But fam come first as always.
Right.
How we got to do the priorities and everything.
Right.
So shout out to my man. Shout out to God. You know what I'm saying?
There with us.
Of course, we'll be back in when we need to be back home. But sometimes we like to go out on a field trip. So, we it's summertime. So we want to see the outdoors. We're going on some field trips. Yeah. Trying to come in with the new.
So, I like to think that our best effort, our foot forward is the content and the conversation that we bring to each other and to you, our audience, our people that we love to talk to.
Yes, I tend to believe so. We just don't have no cigars right now. But
that's right.
Yeah, we'll have that. All
right. But first, we're going to go to the burner of the day. So, like we started this last episode, burner of the day.
Can't wait for this one.
Yep. So this one is the latest issue with Colin Kaepernick, Nike, and the Betsy Ross shoe. So, right. So apparently there was a big issue a couple weeks ago for Independence Day, I guess, or whatever, and it's died down now. So obviously it was just noise.
Right.
It's just noise to distract you because right. But there are always two sides to that conversation. So Kaepernick's conversation was that flag represented a time in America when America was racist. I hate to tell you, America's always racist as part of being in a melting pot. It's just what it is. Okay. At that time, the people who were putting together that flag were actually the least racist in the country. They were about total freedom of people. Yes. Okay, Thomas Jefferson owned slaves, but he loved them.
So did a lot of others.
Right.
Everybody loved the slave.
Right.
I'm light-skinned.
But at that time, that wasn't a deal of racism. Slavery was just the thing to do. It was legal. Right. It was a form of labor.
It was a fabric of our culture at that time.
Right. It had nothing to do with racism other than these are the people we've conquered.
Right. We were fine. So if those haven't seen the shoe, is this the one you refer to? There's a couple of them.
No.
Okay.
So, and then
there's another
on top of that,
stars from
it was just a little knitting in the back heel.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that.
And also at the time, so at that time, there wasn't just black slaves. There was Irish slaves. There was Chinese slaves. There was black slave owners. It was all there at the time. So had nothing to do with racism. Okay. So Kaepernick's first conversation with the whole kneeling for the national anthem, he said it wasn't about the flag. It was about how
The injustice
of
the socialists.
However, this time it was about the flag. So was he talking out his ass now?
No, see, you got to stop and look at it. He's talking about two different situations here, and when they were talking about the flag being disrespected, the servicemen being disrespected, he wasn't trying to say, I'm disrespecting you guys.
Right.
What he was trying to say is, I'm trying to bring something to the forefront so that American people could understand what's happening and what's going on. I'm not saying I'm against my American flag. I'm quite sure he loves America, because if it wasn't for America, he wouldn't have been where he is today.
Platform that he
So,
has now.
right, he wouldn't have a platform.
Exactly.
So he's just trying to make America aware of what was happening with the kneeling thing.
Right.
With this flag on the back of the tennis shoes, there's some things that it's just part of America, and that's just the way it was.
Right.
If they had known that slavery was going to be a bad thing after years, 300, 400 years of being slavery in this country,
right,
they probably wouldn't have had slavery.
Right.
And that flag represents America. It represents us all, but it doesn't represent one's aspect of America, and that's where people are looking at that as.
Right.
It's one aspect.
Right.
It represents a lot.
Yeah. But you said like the intention of slavery. I think it was known the effect of what they were trying to do. They were trying to succeed in it.
Right.
With the intention of slavery. When you look at basically, Willie Lynch theories, that program that when we say, hey, that program, it's not really that program, and it's just that continual repetition of doing this action to get this, to show this meaning, to teach this lesson. So then we won't have to teach this lesson because you're going to start teaching it for us.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
By having them teach the other slaves the way they want.
So right. So then we say, okay, when you start fucking up that big man, Mama says, hey, I already know. Don't go over there. I'm telling you right now, just leave Mr. Thomas alone and all that, because Mama's already starting to demasculate us as far as basically the pride and where we want to go and put those boundaries on, because that's the whole intention. That's the whole intention, because it's supposed to be in condition. This condition is supposed to go for 300 years.
Right.
He said, you follow this directly, 300 years you have them in check. How long has it been? Now, when we look at what's being done, we don't say, oh, it's the same method. No, it's not. It's like technology. We all evolve. So what we do is the tactics change. The message is no longer being taught, but it's being taught. It's being shown, not with words, but with actions. And that's when you touched on a very good thing. When we were talking about where we were talking about, image, as we're getting into this. But this also has that mindset, because this is the mindset of which we are trying to build. We're trying to strip this mindset so we can build this mindset. Right. Now has it succeeded? I would have to say yes, it has. But not 100%, because you can't wipe out 100% of a man. In my opinion, you can't wipe out 100% of a man of anybody. You can't wipe out 100% of you nor myself. Right. You see what I'm saying? In my opinion. So that's why we still are going to have, just like in the movies, you say, well, man, we have Hitman 47. This age is different from all the other ones. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not 100%. You see? Right. So that's my opinion of it.
Sure.
So
I wanted to touch back with everybody. So just because I came across as Kaepernick was full of crap and what he was doing. That doesn't mean I'm for the flag being put on a shoe, because the flag doesn't belong on a goddamn shoe. It's the American fucking flag. You're not supposed to step on it. You're not supposed to get it dirty. It's not supposed to touch the ground.
You're not supposed to spit on it. You're not supposed to burn it.
Is the flag supposed to be on the truck?
The flag's okay on a truck.
Okay, because
If it's okay on the truck, why can't it be all right on the shoe? Why can't it be all right on the bandana, on the T-shirt?
If it's on a truck, I think it's
we did a show on this. We did a show on this, people. I know you're like, wait a minute, yes.
I'm talking
did a
about
show
on
within the
on a
first
truck
five.
that's
Wearing
waving,
its holidays.
waving free. It's okay that way because it's a waving flag. It's meant to
Right.
be a flag. As a sticker, no, because it's going to get dirty, right? It doesn't belong on your paper plates. It doesn't belong on your paper napkins. It doesn't belong on your clothes because your clothes get dirty. You take them off, you throw them on the floor, you throw them in the
And
laundry
you
basket.
can't throw the flag on the floor.
The flag does not belong there. It doesn't belong on your goddamn shoe. Republican or Democrat, liberal, whoever you are, it doesn't belong on your goddamn shoe. Thank you. Have a nice day.
He is spoken. Okay.
The flag is a symbol of our country.
Right.
It's like what we represents us. So what I hate about the flag, I don't care about seeing the flags on different things like that, but what I do hate is when I see a flag, our flag, and they've changed the colors to black, white, and gray, you
Right.
know, for whatever reason, if it's for police honor or fireman honor or whatever. Now that's disrespecting our American flag to me.
Absolutely.
To me, because now you're not saying you're representing the values of American country. You're representing your own values by having this flag flipped to the colors that it is. I don't care if you're police or what. I'm not against the police or whatever, but if you're gonna fly the American flag in honor of your fallen American policemen or law enforcement, fly it in the red, white, and the blue.
That's right. That's what they fought for.
I'm coming from a military brat. So I personally, in my opinion, once again, I think that the message, they always try to equate the flag, and add to the military. It's not the military flag, it's the United States of America flag.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that go on with the military that get construed in the wrong way. And there's a lot of things that what Colin Kaepernick is trying to do, but we have the mainstream media, we have lobbyists, we have politicians, we have everybody that wants to have a spin. So the perception can get perceived in their way, diluting it from his main purpose.
Right.
So, hey, I just don't see it crossing over because I think we want to make it cross over when we shouldn't. So I'm just, I'm just like, hey man, let's leave this what this is and this what this is, and I don't even try to address the mixed match gossip because I think a lot of y'all just be crying because you want to be heard.
It's called that 15 minutes of fame.
Right.
And
exactly.
if you notice that a lot of politicians use the flag and Colin as a prop for their
anti-agenda.
For their agendas to get the things done the way they want it.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And
Votes, basically.
right. And you understand, if one side's preaching one thing, the other side's going to preach the other thing. Even if the year previously they had their messages mixed,
Right.
because the one's preaching, the other one's got to preach the other way.
Right.
It could be the Democrats are going to say zebras are black and white. The Republicans are going to come back and say, fuck no, they are white and black.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the next year, the Republicans say, no, you're right. They are black and white. And the Democrats go, no. They are white and black.
Wait. But then I got a question. How many white stripes on them zebras as compared to how many black stripes on them zebras to say which one's black or white and black?
Does it make a difference?
Exactly.
The best answer to that question, go up to a zebra and ask him.
And then how many zebras do we have to ask? You know what I'm saying, to get the answer?
We have to make a sample survey. So
Okay.
I have to know how many zebras are in the.
Okay, Dr. Doolittle. Dr. Doolittle. You're talking to the animals now. Wait a minute now. Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
But yeah, man, it does trickle down to people too much want to see the micro.
Yeah.
they want to, but control the macro, or vice versa. They want to control the micro, but just want to talk about the macro.
Right.
Can't do shit about it.
Yeah.
Can't do shit about the macro.
Live your life.
Right.
So, speaking of living your life,
Mm-hmm.
going to our main topic, which as we slightly touched on earlier, talking in regards to image,
Yes.
right? So what is image? There are several. That's why we're here in this shop. You've got some
This fabulous shop.
some suits behind us,
Suits.
some nice shoes. We'll get to that in a second,
Suede.
right? So there are several layers to what image is. So there's a personal image and self-image.
Mm-hmm.
There's your communal image. There's a social image, and then there's a public image, right? And those are all different things. Even though some of them sound similar, they are very different from your community image versus your public image versus your social image, and then your personal image versus your self-image.
Mm-hmm.
It's all,
So
it's all
very
connected, but it's all separate.
defined.
It's micro and macro.
Right. Smooth.
Right.
Understanding.
But
But
one always complements the other.
right.
So they are intermingled. Each one of them circle, but each one of those circles touch each other.
Yeah.
So that's what makes the person.
So tell us, we at the shop, and I enunciated it wrong because this is an image question. You see, the spelling of the shop.
the spelling of the shop is KNOKIE apostrophe S, and that's Nokies.
Right. And I said
Nookies.
nookies. You know what I'm saying? I said nookies.
Cookies, I get Cokies,
Oh, you're right.
Cookies,
Right.
Nookies, but it's Nokies.
Nokies. Right.
So with that, while we're talking about the shop, let's go ahead. So with us today is Clint Newsom. He's the proprietor of Noki's
Fashion.
Fashion.
Nokies Fashions.
Down here-
Downtown Glendale.
Right.
Glendale.
you know, it's just like the race. I started running before the gun went off, so I got disqualified.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I guess we had to be a little bit more patient. So, you know, these dispensaries
Yeah,
start
you know,
opening
and
up.
things aren't going to
That's
change
how
overnight.
fast it's able to
I
flip.
mean, it's
You know,
it's
but
law of termination.
I'm
It's
just saying to myself,
I
yeah,
agree.
just let
Right.
these guys free because
I agree.
that's not
because it's a non-violent crime.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
but
Expunge their records.
to me, it's the counter argument to say, how are you going to say that my actions was wrong and what you're doing right now is right? Because the difference is people don't have to have a card to come get some green from me.
Right.
I'm selling the same thing you selling, but the people got a card to come to you, and it's easier to come to me. But I was in this business first. You know what I'm saying? So why you treat me like the Indian? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Why you trying to take over my real estate, dog? You trying to put all these rules and stuff and regulations. You know what I mean? It's the hypocrisy of it.
That's part of it.
It's just, you know, it's like, okay, we can cry about the game, but we just gotta play it.
You guys should have grown up in the late '60s and early '70s.
You know.
That's all I'm going to say.
Oh no, it'd be defiant because I tell Aaron all the time, I'm too high. I'll be like, fuck that. Nah, hell no, let's rock. Black Panther. I probably would, you know, because I am a defiant individual. I say why too much.
That was a great movie.
You ain't Wakanda forever. You know what I'm saying? But you know, for real though, man, I know because I say why too much. Why? I don't agree with that, but why? When you say so, and boy, that word,
Right.
so many times. I mean, you know,
Which one, boy or
Boy.
wife? Oh, boy.
boy,
Okay.
and the manner of how it was used during that time.
Boy don't bother me so much.
You know,
Boy don't bother, because I'm an old, it bothers me if it's said in the wrong
in that
intent.
wrong, right?
Yeah, but the N word.
Yeah, because it was it was the ER,
Right.
not the A. It was the ER.
Any one of the N words, it has the same meaning to me.
Right,
and if you're
right.
as old as I am, and because I've gone, when I was young, I was down south visiting kin folks, and I couldn't drink out of a water fountain. I went to get some water because my mother told me to go get it, and my father was at the park with us, and he looked around, saw me going toward the fountain, and he ran over there and snatched me up just as I'm fixing to get it. So I know what that's like. I know what it's for bathrooms that you have to go to the back, or you couldn't use the bathrooms, or you couldn't come in the front door of the restaurant. So the N word to me, when I hear anybody say it, I cringe on the inside. It just makes me cringe because they fought so hard for our civil rights in the '60s, and for that word just to be flung around like it's just the word whip, you know, like anybody can use it, you know. Some people still don't like that word to be used. And I think the younger generation need to stop using that word, that particular word. Come up with another one, say ninja or something. But that word is very derogatory, and I would very much love to see that word deleted out of our whole language.
Yeah, it's
But
funny.
it never will be
Nah,
because
it
it's there forever.
It's actually being used to proprietize, you know what I'm saying, people on radio stations or certain, you know, gimmicks and YouTubes and stations and shit like that. But we Aaron was talking about that because when we were talking about our word segment, one of the points was that how the young America doesn't see the meaning of that word.
To be derogatory.
Right, because they weren't going through the strife, the struggle, the fight at that time when the word really was used as, you know, lazy, ain't good for shit,
Right.
derogatory, put your ass down to the lowest of below the dirt mud.
Right,
And that's what you're trying to call an individual.
right.
And then when you
Your
have
friend.
this time, right.
And then what gets me is you get a Hispanic, call another Hispanic. That is like, what? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Or you get a white guy, call another white
It's
guy.
become
You know what I'm saying?
commonality.
It's-
You're just
yeah,
like,
so
man,
this
that's my nigga. You like,
Right, no, I'm not using that word like that. You
excuse
know
me,
what I'm saying?
Anglo-Saxon, say that again.
Yeah, what did you say?
What?
Yeah, you know.
Both of you Anglo-Saxons are what?
And I also grew up in a time where the riots were happening, but we lived in the suburbs. Well, not the suburbs, but we lived in a working class community. So my mother taught us not to be racist, not to use certain words. The N word was one of them. The H word was another one of them. And just describing somebody's race in a derogatory way, you might have got the teeth slapped out your mouth, you know, just by being that way. So we weren't raised to be prejudiced, but prejudice is a thing that you learn.
Yeah.
Well, and
You learn that. You're not bred with that. It's not something that's in you because your granddaddy was prejudiced. You can always be, it's like being a baby being weaned from a bottle.
Right.
But that N word, that's very derogatory, and sometimes it's not.
well,
It should be.
and
No time it should be used.
it's funny. Part of that's coming. So prejudice, the number one thing that leads to prejudice is image.
Image, right?
The image that you portray is the biggest thing for people to stereotype you or to bring prejudice to you, especially like groups you hang around. For example, whether you're Crips, right? Crips or Bloods, Hell's Angels, or the worst group of them all, the Mormons.
No,
Right?
wait, no. We're not gonna say they're the worst group of them all because they're not worse at all. They are a religion just like Catholic, Baptist, whatever. You know, we can't down them before their religion. That's being like a prejudice. So
Right.
what
Well,
I'm
it's not so much for their religion but when you're walking down the street or you're sitting at home and you look out the window and you see this bicycle with a boy with the white shirt, the black tie, his backpack, and the helmet on. You know, you lock your door, you close your shade, and you don't answer the door when somebody knocks.
you have your women. You have your American right to do that, but they have their American right
Absolutely.
to do the same
You
thing.
know what it is?
So, but that was a prejudice statement to me, Aaron. I'm sorry. I just have to say that because I feel that everybody do their own thing. If that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
But men should not wear dresses. Okay.
He still always
Well, that's part of it. Isn't it?
I got you.
Okay.
I got
That was a kind of a prejudice. I'm not saying you're prejudiced, but I'm just saying that
experience with Mormons. They run on your block like Muslims run up on black people's cars in the community. Being my brother, dog. I ain't gonna lie, and I ain't gonna lie, because you know you go with our computer, you see it. Black folks have said, "Oh man,
But no, they're not going back to. They're not the worst. They're not the worst. The KKK is the worst.
Yeah.
Okay, now
That's worse.
Yeah.
But that's funny how that is something you can go cognizant, concrete in your community.
Right.
You be like, damn, Mormons down the block. Yo, that's JT and that's Chris. I see him in school with their Bible all the time. And you like, oh man, roll the windows up. Your mama know. Just like when we in our community, we like, hey, careful, because you know what's gonna happen. As soon as you go downtown on 99, you go over there to St. Clair, you go over there to Martin Luther King Boulevard.
Put it right there.
You know what I'm saying? You go see us out there. Final call, another corner, bean pies. You got an option. Final call, my brother, bean pie, my sister, bean pie. That's just how it is. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
But you that's what you grow up in. So
That's
you
what you see.
familiarize
Right.
and you remember.
Right.
But see, that's a little comedic irony in a
Right.
sense.
Of course.
But to go on the serious side, to go what we were saying, that I just lost the thought because of that. That's my ADHD kicking in.
yeah.
But
So like the
before
group
that-
image. So I was
Go
talking
ahead.
about the group image. So
I had a point. History.
Right.
History defines the image of our races.
right.
Now, if y'all can get deep on that, I'm gonna repeat that. History defines the image of our races, because how do we know the stereotypes? How do they develop? Is because of history
right.
being defined how? By actions.
Right.
So those actions become the known, which is developing to an image.
Right. and then you associate those actions with the imagery,
There you go.
right? So like for example, I'm going to the Hell's Angels, right?
Right.
So they're known for their denim clad vests or their leather clad
Motorcycle
vests and
Yeah.
and their bikes.
And the
So
horrific
anytime you
shit that
see
they do.
somebody
they
with
fuck you up.
the patch and rockers on a motorcycle, you're like, oh, that's Hell's Angel. But
They might not be.
they might not be.
They might be a Christian motorcycle
Right.
club.
Well, yeah, or they just be a regular motorcycle, a weekend motorcycle club, or there might be a motorcycle club that just like to get. There's several clubs
Mhm.
outside of Hell's Angels. Not that Hell's Angels are bad. I mean, they have their history like anybody else.
But they're the presidents. They set the mystique
Right, they
for all
Right, they
motorcycle
set
club
the
actors.
precedence.
Right.
Exactly.
You'd be like, yo, that might not be the Hells Angels. That's a motorcycle
Right.
club.
The motorcycle
You
club,
better watch out.
You know.
You know what I
And
mean?
they might be all pussycats.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
But
You know,
that's a motorcycle club. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Until you actually are a part of that image.
Right.
Then that unknown becomes known.
Right.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
then again, the Crips and the Blood. You just because you see a black man walking down the street and he's dressed in red or dressed in black or blue, you're automatically gonna, I gotta stay with that guy.
You got the blue on. You red.
I thought it was black.
Okay. Right.
No, yeah, exactly. Just because I'm just
Or
'cause I'm red,
hats.
yeah.
Or a hat
How
period.
you banging them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Left, depending how you are,
Yeah.
all of that.
And
Man,
so,
there's
of course,
many subtle
as
details.
a suburban white or Asian or whatever, you see this gentleman walking down the street and he's got a red shirt, red hat because today's red day, and you're gonna call the police. I'm pretty sure there's a gang member walking the streets in the neighborhood, and of course the police have to respond because that's their job. They have to respond, and then and then somebody films it on their phone, puts it on Facebook that the police are being racist and prejudiced because he's a black man in red. He's just responding to a call.
Because you the one that called them.
Right.
You called the police because you were fearful of what you saw.
Right.
Because it wasn't what I know, it was what I
Or
saw.
what you were doing.
And because of that action led to another action, but both of those actions was based off of unknown factors.
Right.
So when the tragedy happens, it was because of a unknown factor in what I saw. Oh, I didn't mean for that to happen. Well, motherfucker, maybe you shouldn't have called somebody when you should never have.
Right.
Well, you know where that also comes from? It comes from being stereotyped. When they see something on television over and over and over again, they accept that every black man they see is a gang member.
Right.
I ain't never been in a gang in my life.
Right.
Every black man's been to jail. I've never been to jail in my life.
Right.
Every
Right.
black man is a dope dealer.
Right.
What can I say?
Right.
Every black man might have been a dope dealer.
Right.
I've never been one. I don't know these things,
Right.
know. So
But you're black.
you black,
You that stereotype.
you that stereotype. I could be
You know.
walking down the street and somebody say, "Hey man, where can I get this from?" It's like, how the hell am I supposed to know?
Yeah. Right. I've had that.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about it?
So
Man, I don't know if I told you, Nitty. I told somebody, man. I was like, yo, getting gas in the car, coming from the job, dog. I still had on the uniform from my first job, not the second. So I had, the vest, the hazard vest. I had the armband with the badge sitting here. I had the boots on. Shorty come up to me like, yo, you got a set? I'm pumping gas. You know what I'm saying? You got a set?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Does this look?
I could have been the
smile.
police. I could have
I'm
been
at
the
the block.
police.
Does this look mean that? I'm holding.
Right.
Oh no, he know where it's at right there. This look mean that I guess.
Mhm.
I'm pumping gas in all my work stuff. She come, you got a sack. I was like, first of all, nah, man. I already know. Nobody come up just, nah, man, I cannot help you. But in my mind, I'm sitting here like,
What made him think?
that I'm the dope man?
Right.
What
Do I
makes
look
you
like him? I
think?
hope not.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It was just,
I hope not. I'm riding down the street now.
yeah.
Hey,
You make
there
sure
go.
that seatbelt on.
Yeah.
The seatbelt, I'm clicking. When I turn it left, I'm going to speed 45, dog.
I hope I don't look like somebody wanted ever.
Man, it was just, for me, it was a little perplexed. It wasn't surprising, but I was taken off guard for a minute because I wasn't. I could see that back in my youngers, but now it's like, nah, man, I'm not even that reflection of image at all.
Right.
But yet you still coming up like, you got a sack.
Right.
Nah, I don't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And then go back to touch on, you're only going to associate the image by what media portrays you, right? Portrays toward you. So we could talk about the image of law enforcement and cops, right? So they obviously have a tough job to do because they have to respond to calls. And this is say I'm not pro nor anti-cop. Well, I'm kind of pro-cop, but my grandfather was he was a CHIPS and he was Yavapai County Sheriff, and they have a job to do. And not to say that there's not cops out there who aren't prejudiced, who aren't jerks, who that don't have an agenda.
Well, the cops are the Ku Klux Klan now.
Right,
the
exactly.
Cops are the Ku Klux Klan. That's the way I see it. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? In their own ways. But I know a few people that are policemen. And to me, when I talk to them away from the job and stuff, and they say, well, we look at everybody as being a perp.
Right.
Even if you're not a perpetrator, everybody is a perpetrator. They're doing something, And there's a lot of people that are just regular old Joes that might get a beer, go home in front of the TV and watch football, basketball, baseball, drink their beer, go to bed, wake up the next morning to go to work. Never done anything in his life wrong. So they can't look at everybody the same way. But now there's communities where this is the way it is, and there's communities where, oh no, that's Joe. We know he works a job every day, And they ride past before they know the little kids in the neighborhood and stuff. But then there's other neighborhoods they don't know the little kids.
Right.
They don't have time enough to try to learn the little kids in the neighborhood. They're busy doing other things, So that's just part of life. So we have to understand that the police are doing their job. If they didn't do their job, I wouldn't be able to have a business. You wouldn't be able to live in your house in peace.
Just a couple bad ones, man. It's just like it's in every pot.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect, but the problem is that the actions of the bad ones. It's the frequency
Of it
of
happening.
these actions.
No,
They're not new. It's just unjust. Then the frequency of them happening, and then the lack of accountability and the wishy-washy shit that they want to try to give society. Oh, well, listen, we can't apprehend a suspect and this and that. Yo, man, we passed all that.
Well, you have to stop and think about it. If they weren't there, we wouldn't be able to have a society that functions the way we do. There has to be a deadline.
Right.
But the problem is, it's not a problem. I think it's a good thing that everybody now has a camera and can see what they're doing.
Right.
And when they bring it to the forefront of the country, to the nation, to the people, all the people that say, well, that really just didn't happen. Right. Oh, you just saw it happen. They killed the man and said the cop didn't do it because the man he wasn't guilty because he wasn't guilty. The man was just selling cigarettes, making a little hustle.
Yep.
But he couldn't breathe, but they killed him.
Yep.
Well, how did we see that? 30 years ago, we would have heard about it. Oh, well, we probably wouldn't even heard about it. If it wasn't for everybody having a camera now. A camera tells the story of what's going on. You can't hide facts with a camera. A camera is only going to tell what the truth is unless the film is done.
And you got to figure, because when you think law enforcement is such always in a rift with the community. So you say, how do we prettier our image and our relationship with the community? So these cameras. So to them, to us, they want us to believe and feel that they're doing the right thing. They're correcting the negative image they have by putting cameras on the body. So therefore, it's not going to be the criminals, the suspect story, the police story. Now we also have that third eye, which is going to be that camera.
And it's telling the truth.
Right, which is the truth.
See, that's the other thing. So we only see the
Only if
video.
that camera's on.
There you go.
We only
That
see
can be
the
turned on
images
at
and the
a particular
videos
time.
of when
Get turned
the
on.
cops A, make a mistake, or B, show extreme prejudice. You're never going to see those videos when they have the correct traffic stop, when they do their job correctly, because that doesn't, that's boring, right? It's boring stuff. People aren't going to watch that. What they're going to watch is the cops beating the crap out of somebody on the side of the road for a traffic stop,
Right.
unfortunately. And that's all we're going to see. And so that's the image we have of law
Right.
enforcement.
Right.
So it's a community image is a double-edged sword, man. You know, as your house of business has a pretty sign, but you have your workers out in the community, they cuffing everything up. So you know that just pretty much salts your image and your relationship with your community.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
There's no real fix for the police in the community. What can we do to fix
Start policing yourself.
a problem like that? Where can we go? What image is there that we can do or that they can do to make us a cohesive image? To let them know, and then we also got to teach our kids that from the very beginning, from little on, that the police, they always say the police are your friends.
Right.
But yeah, the policeman is your friend in certain instances.
Right.
But then you always got to think about, this policeman is thinking about how he's going to get home, how he's going to be safe. That's his number one thing.
Exactly.
So I'm not taking up for the police, but you also got to put yourself in the policeman's shoes. When you want to go home every night.
Absolutely. And here's the solution. Right. That's it. Here's the solution to no longer having to have police. The thing, so like you said, we have to have police to keep society. If you don't want police, if you want the police to go away, here's the solution. The number one solution, guarantee we'll give it to police forever. Be nice to everybody. Be nice to everybody. But it's never gonna happen.
No, because people now like see that. Oh, he disrespected me. I want my respect. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
Hey, it's not disrespect or respect or whatever. It's like when you go on. You know what I'm saying? If you bump into somebody, you say excuse me and walk around.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If everybody was mannerly to everybody else, you wouldn't have half the problems that you have. People pulling a gun, killing somebody because they cut them off in front of them. You know,
took the
I got
parking spot during Christmas.
Right.
and kill. So,
Right.
you know, you pull out in front of me, so I'm going to run you down the street. I'm going to run down the street. I'm going to pull my gun and I'm going to just start shooting up your car. I don't care who's in your car.
Right.
Did you just kill somebody in my car because I accidentally cut you off? I might have mistakenly cut you off, or, you know, is that something to be mad about? There's things that this society needs to understand and learn. There's some things you get upset about. There's some things you don't get upset about. But when you get upset about something, remember, whatever you do, you got to pay the consequences for it.
Gotcha.
And when you make your consequences, that's your responsibility.
Right.
So we're a bit long on our episode.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. We had great conversation. So I just want to go into music assignments.
Yeah, we just snazz the booth, so we do a music thing. So just to share music from different worlds. You know? So my music assignment was Metallica, 1991, and I'm just gonna ask: are they considered demonic?
No.
Okay, because yeah, they got Metallica is on a different plane.
Yep.
But they got bass. I like that.
Yep.
And they guitar though, man, they
Yep.
heavy in the guitar.
Metallica's the
Heavy.
standard for heavy metal. If you're gonna be a heavy metal fan, Metallica is the band.
Heavy.
It's like the taster before you go on to the.
Yeah, man, they're heavy in the strings. Heavy. So, you know, I mean, they had some buckets.
I don't know about that. Okay, I say they're heavy in the string, but you got to stop and think about it. Where does the string thing come from? Who was heavy in the strings first before a lot of everybody?
Who?
Mr. Hendrix. Mr. Hendrix. So those strings are part of a culture that's gone back from back.
Yeah,
but then when you think about him,
the grandfather of heavy metal.
the grandfather, basically, and if you stop and think about where did he start? Who did he start with? Who did he play with? He played with James Brown. He played with Bootsy Collins with James Brown. So that's just a growing of everything. But Metallica, you're right. They do have some very good music.
Yeah,
And the start of it all, the man who invented the electric guitar, Robert Johnson.
Robert Johnson, okay, Robert Johnson.
Hey, they can sing too.
Yeah.
What else to say? I noticed that dude can sing.
Yeah.
You know, like for a rock, I guess that's what a good rock voice is supposed to
So
sound like.
you'll hear more.
Because he held his own over that damn guitar. That guitar was so loud.
Yeah. But that's what the people go for.
Own it. And I was
really,
like,
you like
this,
that?
Is there a dull? There was not a dull moment.
Yeah.
Certain songs rise, fall, build up.
No, it's all energy.
Boom.
It's all energy.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo. Now, and the only thing I can envision was that dude sitting there like,
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
and I was just
That's what
like,
it's all about,
yo,
man.
this is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. You know, but not bad. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
So I got to listen to Lauryn Hill. She's a style of her own as well. Like when you listen to her, you're like, is she R&B? Is she hip hop? Is she gospel?
Like
And all three is yes. She's all three of those things.
Yeah.
And the only thing that scares me with Lauryn Hill is she has a little bit of those I call them vocal gymnastics, which is and she's on the cusp of almost going too far, because the only people who can really do that, like Mariah Carey, is great with that.
Right.
The lady from the Zombies,
Right.
she has her own style, and then there's another Whitney Houston. Like those are the people who can do it. And Lauryn Hill, she's right there on being, because she has an amazing voice, but she's like right there on the possibly taking it too far with the vocal gymnastics and like, and then like okay, she didn't quite get there, but every time I hear it, it's always right, like it's good, and then it's not. Like okay,
Right.
but she's enjoyable to listen to.
Right.
Like I said, she's a great combination of hip hop, R&B, gospel. So,
one of the Fugees.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And she has some great hits, singles that were on the album that I listened to, the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill's.
That was
Singles
one of
on
the
there.
dopest female artist albums.
Yeah.
And I was just like, after she dropped that, there was no more new Lauryn Hill music.
Yeah, like that was like the only album.
And it's
she did.
like there's a pocket of us that's like still yearning and hoping and waiting for some new Lauryn Hill music to come out. I mean,
well, there you go, Mrs. Hill.
it was
The
so
D&W
refreshing.
show is calling for your second album.
Right, because it was refreshing to hear Lauryn away from the Fugees.
Sure.
You know she has talent.
Sure.
I mean, it's evident in what she was doing. But when she came away and got to do a little bit more of the collab with the R&B and the hip hop and the free spirit and movement of it, I was like, yo, this is dope. But I don't know from there.
Okay.
I still be like, playing that one. You just lost one, but you couldn't got it.
Okay.
You just
I really didn't study anything or think about music, but I've come from a music background. I've studied music from the time I was little till I graduated from high school. I played in the band, so I can read music and I understand music and I understand its concept. The only thing I have to say about music is it needs to be music.
Right.
Well, I like. There's some rappers, yes.
Okay.
There's some rappers
Okay.
that I was like, okay, I love what they're saying.
Who you listen to?
If I can understand what they were saying.
Right.
Now, when you got the mic to your mouth and you screaming in the mic and I don't understand a word you're saying, I'm going to flip the channel or turn you off. But when I hear you say, picture me rolling, I understand what you say. Or if you listen to a couple of my son's albums, I turn my own son off because I don't know what he's saying. His name is Debo Lottie Maserati. He's out on Facebook and YouTube. He's got a couple of albums. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, man, that was good, but I didn't know what you were saying. I'm from the old generation, so to me, if I can understand what you're saying, I can understand them. I can understand pop. There's a lot of them that I understand, and I like their music. You know, Juvenile. You know, she get it from a mom. You know what I'm saying? That resonates to me. You know what I'm saying? There's some rappers that resonate to me, and there's some that I just don't get because I'm from the old school. My mom played music like Coltrane, Nat King Cole, from her era. When I was coming up, my brothers and sisters were older than me. They listened to Elvis Presley. I'm trying to think of his name, Mr. Pennyman, Little Richard. Rock and roll was the thing. So as time went along, music changed. Then the Beatles come in. Then they even evolved and changed to Dr. Pepper till they went to the wild and crazy kind of music. So music to me is about how you feel about your music. So if I had to study anybody more than anything, it would have been Luther Vandross. And what I say now, what I say right now is we need a male figure to come in and to take his place since he died. Ruben Studdard was supposed to be the man. He does his thing, but we need a Luther. Even though Luther was the way Luther was, we need a Luther. And that's why we don't have that crooner that croons to make the ladies want to throw their panties up at him like they did at Luther.
Because I remember my mom used to tell me that Tom Jones. Used to go nuts.
Regardless of what color.
Nuts.
Throw their panties up
Don't
at
matter who, what color woman, what nationality woman you with, man, you with a Tom Jones, man, brawls. They used to come through with brooms. I'm like, are you serious? My mom just, man, one time, I guess she was like, lady was throwing panties, her bra, damn near all her damn clothes, trying to be naked with that man. I was like, what? But you can imagine because you hear stories about, artists and how sometimes they're just overrun on stage back then. Like that don't never happen now. But back then, you just hear like the fans and you always hear the ladies always overpower the stage. You never hear about men jumping on stage going after
could you see me jumping up on the stage going after Anita?
Anita, Diana, the Supreme.
Could you see me jumping up on the stage going after
Anita? Like, ooh, like.
But
now you have the whole damn army over there boxing. All them, they have guns. Security is men in hordes wanted to go on stage like for Dolly Parton. Oh no, the National Guard will be out there.
They throw their draws up at Dolly Parton.
Right, they'd be like, you can throw draws, but you ain't coming past this line. And they'd be like, you know what I mean?
You
got it right out there. I'm telling man, it's just. But it's crazy to really know how much an artist affects a fan because like they walk in and just the fan would just start crying when they just oh my God,
image.
You're here right in front of me like this image of you being on TV and me wishing to see you, wishing to be by you, wishing to go to your show, and you happen to come into the Starbucks I work at to get a triple latte. And you just like, oh my God, you're real. You're within 12 inches of me.
Right.
And he's so cool, like, hey, are you all right? Yeah, you good? I just want to get a triple latte. Yeah. Oh my God, Brad Pitt. Oh my God, you're so cool. And you know what I'm saying? Can't even function. It's just the power of image. It's the power of a being.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy with that, and it has to go with everything on today's show. But I did have one thing I wanted to spit before we got out of here, because you know how notorious I am for I hate moments.
Yep.
And I have 2 I hates. And when I have an I hate moment, there are things that really just piss me the hell off. Sometimes you be in the car and just be cussing at the person because they just piss you the hell off. But on this one, it's more like the mindset of what society's trying to take. So I heard this little thing, the story about babies being born in hospitals, and you normally get the gender.
Yeah, I really.
Now they ain't trying to give the gender of the baby. Talking about no, we leave it as an option. We don't want to know the gender of the baby, whether they're male or female, until they grow up and get a little older and identify to which gender they are. I'm sorry, and this is straight. If you born with 2 nuts, you're not deciding at 9 that you're going to be a female. You got 2 nuts. There's a check, male or female. You're a male. That's simple. We don't need to confuse people. Oh, we're going to let the child decide when we go to that freedom shit. Too much freedom, you don't have no control. You don't have no say in your own damn household because you giving your child too much freedom. Let that shit go ahead and keep going as you want it. Gonna bite you in the ass. I'm gonna tell you that right now. The second thing is I'm driving, man, going home, rush hour traffic. Ain't no trip. We all got rush hour traffic. But when the person in front of you, man, they fucking around with their phone and it's a stoplight and you could turn on red and there's no opposing traffic for 2 miles, but they're not turning because they're doing a text, honk the horn on them. You know what they did? Did they move? You honk the horn on them. They look up. Oh, I'm sorry. As soon as they're going to go, that traffic is now here. 30 damn seconds sitting there just wait. Do you know how long 30 seconds is when you're just sitting there when there's no traffic coming and you're just stuck behind the car and it's 105 Arizona? I'm sorry. What was it this week? 14, 109. Yeah, so I got AC, but that sun still comes through that damn window and it's hot.
Yeah, I don't care how good your AC is out here. When it's 100,
when it's
100 higher,
that AC is no longer AC. That shit is called a.
It's aching.
What is it? It's called
a swamp cooler.
A stabilizer, right?
Right.
That's all. That shit's just gonna help. It's called the help. Yeah. It's just gonna blow light air. It ain't even cold air, dog. Your AC does not stay cool when it gets 110. That shit start cooking, and you like, yo, we gotta blow this air going in this car because it ain't happening. But you gotta think, man, 30 seconds. You know, this is when you sit at a railroad station. You know what I'm saying? About 30, 45 seconds. You're like, damn, this train been long as hell. So imagine when you can go, but you can't go because the car in front of you is fucking around a damn text. Or when they don't know that they can turn right on red.
Right.
Well, they don't have to turn.
They don't have to, but it's courteous to me. I know what he means. It seems like to me if there's 2 lanes of traffic and there's nobody in the far lane and you're not going to turn right, get into the far lane. And then if somebody comes up alongside and wants to turn right, they're capable of doing it.
But you got 2 lanes, right? And the car come up and you know you got your blinker on, so you know, look, man, let this motherfucker know I'm turning right so he can just stay in that left lane. And he going straight. Click, 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 click. And you right here, you got your blinker on. Click, click, he get your lane. Click, click, and then stop.
I understand. I know exactly what
you gonna do that for? You know, now you said 2 minutes.
Wait for the light to change.
Wait for the light to change. And you like.
Sometimes I do that just to mess with people.
See, that's why you're an asshole.
See, that's the kind of stuff that causes road rage.
That's right.
See, the thing people don't understand about that kind of stuff is if you don't do that kind of stuff to make somebody go crazy, then they won't go crazy. If you do stupid stuff, stupid stuff happens. That's what I was saying about the consequences. What you do, whatever you do, you got to pay for your consequences. Okay.
Real talk, because I have been known to just pull right around that fool and make that turn. I would go in that left lane and go right around that front
and
car.
if I was a cop and I saw you do that, guess what's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen?
I know that.
Like, hey, fool. I'm like, hey, didn't you just see that car in front of you? You whipped around him and made a right-hand turn in front of him at the red light.
But
and the light changed 10 seconds later. Guess what? Take this $350 ticket home with you tonight. It's safe, but that's what?
But that's just like
that's $10 for every second you didn't want to wait 30 seconds.
There's no empathy for that move, just like there's no empathy for the cat that's sitting in the carpool lane and they driving the freeway and they know that they're gonna get pulled over because that's $700 off top. Off top is $700 in stairs, or you get pulled over carpool lane. Off top, you know what I'm saying? First time. And so it's just like, and you're like, man, I got pulled over Carlo, and you got that ticket, huh? Right. Yep. I have not heard one person to this day get a warning. No. Not one. And I'd be like, man, you already knew it though. Yeah. Right. Well,
if you shoot dice with loaded dice, or if you play with fire, you gonna get burnt.
That's crazy.
So that's what I said. If you do things to get burnt, you gonna get burnt. That's the consequence.
What we do.
What I hate is people leaving their babies in the car.
Oh, that's a new one.
And it's 110. Wait a minute. If I'm taking my baby out to the car, we're going someplace. I put the baby in the car, in the backseat, in his seat. We're driving out. What did I do? Well, what was I thinking? I got this baby in the backseat. That's my number one thing. If I put him in the seat back there, how in the hell did I forget him back there? I did not forget that baby back there.
That happened this week.
People, if you got babies, you put them in the car, you know you put that baby in the car. There's no way you did not know, my baby dead. Yeah, the baby dead because you were not responsible for that kid. Kids are our future. Another thing that I hate, lying politicians and people that believe what this lying politician is saying, and they know that this politician is lying. Right. Don't lie. Tell the truth. When you got to lie when you lying for, this is what my grandmother used to say about my big brother. He'd rather lie for free than tell the truth and get paid. Think about that. Lie for free than tell the truth and get paid. Just don't lie to the American people. Tell it like it is. Show us what the ways that we need to be changed in the way we need to go. That's all I want. And don't divide us. We should not be divided as a nation, period. Regardless to what color, what religion, what political affiliations we're with. We are one. People ask me, what are you? Are you black, Puerto Rican, whatever? First of all, first and most, I'm an American. Second of all, I'm a black man. So that makes me an American black, not a black American. I'm American first. And this country needs to come together as America. And we need to straighten out what we need to straighten out to get this on in the right direction. That's all I got.
Right. Tell them now. You have anything else you hate?
I hate being broke, but that's a different story.
That's another show. As we do know, I am not the only one that hates things in America.
All right. So finish out the music assignment. Who do I get?
Maxwell. Your Maxwell assignment is actually, I love Maxwell's joint peoples. So it is actually the damn, I had the album right. It's this one right here. I got things popping up on my windows. What's the last one? Go to Maxwell, the Urban Suite.
The Urban Suite.
Are we good?
Yeah, we good, man.
Yeah, you're good.
You know what I'm saying? We don't redo this with the thing. You know, my man Clint gonna roll. You know, he got to be the man running the shop. But do want to say thank you, sir, coming in. Definitely.
Thank you guys.
That's a little noise to let you know B&W show is the greatest
I
show
want to
ever.
say thank you guys for inviting me on your show. It was interesting and it was fun,
Right.
entertaining.
Great.
I want to welcome people to come to Noki's Fashions. The address is 5746 West Glendale.
Yep.
And that's downtown Glendale, right across the street from the restaurant, the famous German
Murphy.
food, Haas Murphy's restaurant.
Yep.
Come check us out right next door to Old Town Pizza. They serve a good pizza also over there. So if you want to get something to eat, come do a little shopping. If your man looks like you need to have him come get dressed up, come check me out. We're downtown Glendale, but so what I'm saying is I'm not downtown Scottsdale, I'm downtown Glendale, so I have downtown Glendale prices. So come check me out.
Amen.
That's what I'm saying. You know
So-
what I'm saying?
Music sign I'm pushing your way
Mhm.
is my girl, Trisha Yearwood, Hearts and Armor.
Okay.
Okay, it's her second album, her sophomore album.
Her second album.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So some people might be surprised that I'm not giving you her first album. I
Okay.
think this album has better vocals for her, so I think you'll enjoy it a little bit more.
All right.
Check it out.
Let's go with it. So
All right.
you know that's how we do it out here, people. You know, appreciate your time, appreciate your 5 minutes after doing this Facebook world. B&W shoe, we out. We're gonna see you next month with the hot. Again, BNW1@gmail.com. You wanna holler at us, shout at us.
Yeah.
Belly Boy out. Peace.
Peace.
And we apologize for the inconvenience.
Always.
So do you guys kind of